Hi, this is Tim from CPUCores with a quick video of using the CPU Core software with the CSGO Counter-Strike Global Offensive game. And what we're going to do is we are going to run CSGO with Steam just normally as you would normal run it. And we are going to have Fraps running here. And Fraps is going to record the FPS of the game, and we're going to be able to see it by clicking on View and looking at all the Fraps information here. So we're going to use Fraps. We're going to record the FPS with and without CPU cores. And let's have at it. So we're going to start just Steam all by itself. So I'm just going to click it, and then I'm going to play game. And my video recording setup here is a 1280 by 720. And the reason why I do a 1280 by 720 is so I have a little bit more room to work with the video recording. And also because we're not necessarily measuring the specific FPS. Sorry about that. We're not necessarily recording the specific FPS number so much as we're recording the percentage increase. The percentage increase is the number that's going to scale across whatever resolutions you have and whatever video settings you have. The percentage increase, I think, is the more appropriate number here. So anyway, we're going to just take a look at what the options we have just so you guys can see here. We have all of this set right here. Everything's set to the highest settings. And we are going to go right into the game. So we're going to do an offline with bots. Now the goal of this is we're going to run around the game roughly 1 minute recording the FPS, and we're going to just be firing our gun. And then we're going to do the exact same scenario with CPU cores, run around a minute, fire our gun. And we don't want bots to shoot us and kill us or to otherwise make a pretty repeatable scenario have any sort of unique variables. So we're going to do the OP Bloodhound group one. We're going to hit go. We're going to do no bots, like I said. And I'm only going to start doing the video recording when we're actually in the game. So if you notice in the top left corner, Fraps is showing a number. When you start the video recording, that number goes away. It's Fraps' way probably of conserving resources or something. And then when you end the recording, the number comes back. So the F11 key is our record Fraps, so we're going to hit that key only when we're in the game, which should be pretty quick here. Alright, so we're in the game now. So we've got about 3 seconds before it starts. Now we're just going to run around and shoot everything. Alright. My goal is to go 1 minute. My timer shows me how much time we have in the game here. It's a timer that I have off the screen. So we've done 20 seconds so far. We're just doing something that I feel that we can repeat in the next map, or the next example when we do the CPU core version of it. Alright, so we're all out of bullets here. We're just going to swing on over to our knife and just start being stabby McStabby here. We've got another 20 seconds to go. And we're going to try and end it in both videos in the building here, just to kind of get it somewhat repeatable here. And just a few more seconds here. Alrighty, so there we go. So the FPS recording is done, so we can actually just go ahead and exit out of the game now. And let's take a look at what Fraps has listed for our FPS. So if you notice Fraps here, we have the desktop folder, but we're just going to click View. And we have all the different CSGO stuff. You can see that it's time-stamped, and we're just going to do this one. And we can see here the time was 66 seconds, so a tad over a minute. And we have an average of 44, min and max of 25 and 72. So the time isn't so important other than having it relatively close. What we're really looking at are the average min-max FPS. So we're going to go ahead and close this. We're going to leave the Fraps files there, minimize this, and then we're going to load it with CPU cores. Now CPU cores, when you start it, it automatically detects all your different Steam games, and you can look at it in a different format if you kind of want a more visual way of doing it. And what we're going to do is just stick with the list here, and we're going to search for Counter-Strike. Alright, so the way I have CPU core set up, let me show you my CPU real quick. I have a dual-core G3258 with a GTX 960 graphics card. And what I did is I actually went to the Steam hardware survey and I looked at the different CPUs that people have, and about half of Steam players actually have a dual-core CPU, and the other half have a quad-core. And I basically looked at the specs and I tried to create one system that was kind of the average of all the gamers. So the average of all the gamers, I picked a dual-core, a newer dual-core, and then I picked the GTX 960. I think the number one card was the 970. And then the number 2 card, I believe, was a 7 series something. So I tried to get something that was kind of the average, what the average gamer would have. This system is by no means, not even remotely, is it a high-end system. It's just kind of the middle ground system. And CPUCores is meant for kind of the low to medium high systems. So that's why we have the hardware that we have right here. Anyway, so we're going to click Start on CSGO. I may have to set the audio again. Alright, lower the audio a little bit there. Okay, so we're just going to exit out of these menus and then move this on the screen a little bit better. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing we did before. So let me show you the video settings. Everything's the exact same. Everything's set to the highest here. And we're going to go to play. We're going to do offline with bots again. Same thing, Bloodhound group. We're going to hit go, no bots again. And we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to record any FPS until we're actually in the game. And then we're going to run around for 1 minute. And we're just going to fire our gun and then stabby McStabby when our bullets run out. And then we're going to compare the FPS before and after. And then take a look from there. So it looks like we're still waiting for the map to load. And again, the FPS counter goes away when the recording is going on, and then it returns when the recording is done. It's just a function of how Fraps works. So same thing. Alright, so we are recording the FPS, and
come on, chop chop.
Let's run around. So my clock that I have off the screen showed 7:22 when I started. So we're going to go until it says 8:22. So the same thing, we're just running around the same building here. Firing our gun as much as we can. And then when we can't do that, we're going to just stabby everything. Let's go back in the building. I think we're in the building more than any other area. So just stabby around a bunch. And I think I said 8:22 for the time. So we've got about 10 more seconds here. Let's go back in here. Let's go back over here. Alright, so we should be done. So we're going to end the video recording. Or the Fraps recording, rather. And we can just exit out of the game now. So let's exit out of the game. Let's take a look at what the Fraps results were. Let's open up Fraps here. Maximize it. View. Now Fraps has a before and after, or really it just has two benchmarks. We have from the first one you can see 304, and from the second one 308. Now if we take a look at the log file here, we can expand this open here. We can see that we're actually within about 2 seconds. So our benchmark time is pretty nice. However, our FPS counters are significantly improved using CSGO. Wow, I did not expect this many FPS increases. So this is quite a large FPS increase. Without, let's just say, standard CSGO, average is 102 FPS, min 77, max 148. And then CPU core CSGO is, oops, sorry, I wrote that down wrong. Average of 44, min of 25, and max of 72. Okay, average is 102, and then the min is 77, and max is 148. Okay, so that's an increase of, and we're gonna not let our math potentially fail on a video. So 148 minus 72 of average 72 FPS. And that average is the one that we really care about, so let's just do that. So that is a overall increase. Let's just do it like this. And then our percentage increase is going to be 102 divided by 44. So we have 131% FPS increase. 131% FPS increase. Now, CSGO is a game that's known to be very heavy on the CPU requirements, or at least very heavy on how much CPU it uses for the game, but 131% increase is actually staggering. What I'm going to do, just so you guys can see this, I am going to do a second test, and let's put this over here, and we're going to minimize fraps, and we are going to let's go ahead and just minimize this, but we're going to leave this open. So let's put this over here. Let's put this over here. So we're going to run the whole same test one more time. Let me get my Steam, and we're going to see if the difference is the same. So let's do the scenario exactly one more time. A little bit less explaining. I mean, you guys have seen how we're doing it so far, so I don't have to really explain much. So we're going to zoom through it as fast as possible. So let's lower the volume there. Okay, so here we go. The options again are the same. You can just see it real quick. Everything's the same. Play offline with bots. Let's do the same one since we're going to repeat the second series of tests. So this is not running with CPUCores. You can see here that CPUCores has not launched it. When CPUCores launches something, the buttons, everything grays out. So this is a normal Steam ran version of Counter-Strike, or CSGO. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to run around for 60 seconds. And then we are going to do the same thing with CPUCores. Okay, so we're recording the FPS.
Let's do this and get back in time for chow.
All right. I feel as if we are, let's see here. I am definitely not a Counter-Strike player. Took me a while to figure out where we're at on the map here. We're going to go another 20 seconds. And we're going to switch you over to the knife. Alrighty. So we're going to stop the benchmark. And let's see here. Go ahead and close this. Go back to Fraps. Click the view. And we have a third entry now. So if we do the Fraps log, you can see a third entry. And now we are going to do the exact same thing with CPUCores. So let's go ahead and minimize this. And where's my CPUCores? Right here. And we are going to click Start Game and do the exact same scenario. So start the game. Bring this over here. Lower the volume. Let's see here. Alright, volume is lowered. Again, just review the video settings. Everything is the same. Play offline with bots. We're going to do this one again. Hit go. No bots. Now, I feel like that last map was outside a lot. So I hope I selected the right map. Even if I did not select the right map, at least we have maybe 2 different maps for comparison. Whereas the first statement that we did still is accurate as far as it showing the FPS difference. Alright, so we just started to record.
Let's go.
So we're running around. I'm actually gonna do this map one more time without CPU cores, just to make sure that I selected the proper map in the first place. The last game that I did before, a lot of it was outside, and I'm not sure if I picked the same map that I wanted to pick. So here we're gonna do Stabby McStabby again. We're gonna let this go for another 25 seconds. I wasn't paying super close attention to the timer there. So we're going to go another about 15 seconds. So yeah, we're going to do the last map, the one we did right before this, over one more time, which is a non-CPU core version of it, just to make sure that I have the proper maps selected. So this is with CPU cores. Alright, we're going to close that, exit that, and go ahead and just exit out of CSGO. So we're running it with CPU cores there, and where's my fraps? View fraps log. So this one here is without CPU cores. This one was with CPU cores, our second test. This is our third test without CPU cores. And this is our test right now with CPU cores. So we are going to do one more test, the same map without CPU cores, and we are going to just take a look at 2 different sets of numbers of averages of FPS that we're getting. So we did the last one without CPU cores. Or we did the last one with CPU cores, so this one is without CPU cores. So we're going to just lower the volume here. Okay, so again, review the video options. Everything's the same. Go to play offline with bots. Bloodhound group, go, no bots. And again, this is without CPU cores. So I'm just redoing this one just to make sure that we have everything correct. So I feel like the other map we started outside, and it makes me feel as if possibly I did the wrong map or not. But apparently you can start outside over here, up in this corner. So I think we maybe did terrorists versus counter-terrorists maybe. Not a CSGO player. I'm horrible at these games. Actually, this game does look a little fun. Maybe I'll give it a try again. Okay, anyway, so we're continuing. Counter-terrorists, starting the recording. And we're just waiting 3 seconds here.
Go, go, go.
So we're just going to fire our gun a whole bunch. And when we run out of bullets, switch to the knife. So we got about 45 more seconds left. We're just running around in the game, not necessarily doing anything in particular. Got about 30 seconds left, and I think we're out. So I think our other map was actually the right scenario. It was just outside versus inside. But either way, more benchmarks, can't go wrong with that. So again, just running around here. So this is a just normal Steam, no CPU cores at all. Just normal, this is how the game would run. Alright, so we're going to stop the benchmark. And then we are going to just exit out of the game here. Let's see. Alright, so let's take a look at the results now. So go to Fraps. We're going to open up the Fraps folder. You can see there is 1 benchmark, 2 benchmark, 3 benchmark, 4 benchmark, 5 benchmarks. So 5 benchmarks. and we are going to record what they were. The first one was normal. The second one was CPU core, and then we did another normal, and then we did another CPU core, and then we did another normal. And the reason why we did one last normal here is because I thought I potentially selected the wrong map for this normal. So just to make this math easy, we're going to delete one of these. They're roughly the same, these two normals. They're 42, pretty close to 42. The FPS is pretty similar. So just to make this easy, let's keep the one that's the highest, just to give the game the benefit of the doubt. This has max 78, but the average is lower. So let's go ahead and keep these two. Okay, so we have two scenarios right here. Okay, so the first scenario, CPU core, so without is 44 FPS, with CPU core is 102 FPS, and then the second benchmark we did, without is 42 FPS, with CPU cores is 74 FPS with CPU cores. So we can see that there is a pretty staggering change between these two numbers, both of them. So if we do a percentage, or let's do FPS gain with CPU cores, and this benchmark it was, actually let's not even take a guess. Let's just make it for everybody to see. 102 minus 44 is 58. So 58 FPS. And then the bottom one here, let's delete this. The average gain on this one was 74 minus 42, was 32 FPS. 32 FPS. Okay, and then CPU core percentage increase percentage. Let's calculate that out. That I think is the main number that you want to look at. Is what is that percentage increase? Because then if you have a different resolution of your desktop, or your graphic settings are different, or if things are a little bit different, I think it's easier to say, you know, a 10% increase versus saying a specific FPS increase. So we have 102. So this one we had 131%, which is a huge percent increase. And this one we have a 76%. 76%. So let's say two benchmark, if I spell it right, two benchmark tests show FPS increase of, and then we'll just do a range. We'll say 76% to 131%. Now, a big thing that I want to stress here is that the increase that you're going to get varies greatly on the game that you're playing. Let me kind of clean this up a little bit. It varies greatly on the game that you're playing and the system that you have. So in our example, we have, let's say, put this down here. Let's do test bench is a average. It's an average Steam user. It is a dual core G3258 plus a 960 GTX. Now the reason why I decided to create this as a benchmark is I went to the Steam hardware survey, and the Steam hardware survey lists all the different hardwares that are used on Steam. About half of the users are dual core and the other half are quad core. And the number one video card is the 970, and the number two is, and I can't remember, it's a 700. I think it's a 700 series something. So I tried to take a look at all the different systems and to create something that was kind of the middle ground for what users would have. So I have a faster dual core processor. So that kind of gives me coverage of the dual core users, and I think it's the fastest dual core processor actually. So it allows me to get a little bit of a feel for what a dual core user would get, but being that the fastest one, it gives me maybe covering into some of the performance that a quad core user would have. And then I just kind of took the average roughly of what the video cards would be. Now this computer I would consider would be a medium end computer. I believe this whole setup cost me, I believe it was $450-ish for this computer. So it was very, very cheap, very inexpensive. My graphics card I believe was $210. The processor I believe was $60, for example. Everything was very, very inexpensive for this computer. So anyway, now you know a little bit more about using CSGO with CPUCores. As you can see, the increase is pretty dramatic. CSGO is probably a very CPU heavy program, so the increase from CPUCores is probably a little bit more pronounceable. For games that are more GPU heavy, you will definitely see a far, far less CPU percentage increase. Right now we're seeing for different games between 6% increase in FPS on up. So I would not go into this expecting to get 76% on all your games. This is definitely a very high number. So please keep that in mind. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope this answers some of the questions about using CPU cores, and